tutors who have supported students in this. When we first started, I think we didn't have the photography category, so then we added the photography category, and then this year we added the art category for the first time. We only had 2 submissions, but we went art category, and I've been thinking about adding a video category as well. You know, because people make their own little movies all the time, and so I'm thinking next year we might add a video component, which might be nice. So on NJALL's YouTube channel, we have a playlist that's dedicated to previous winners reading their work. So I would encourage you to check that out. And then maybe sometime during the session today, I'll drop the link for that. So if you're a winner this year, I'd be very happy to work with you to make a video. We just use Zoom. We record it, I edit it, and then give you a chance to look at it, and then we upload it. So then you have more of an audience for your work. The magazine, which is called Insight, the PDF of it, which has all the stories and all the honorable mentions, should be out, midsummer maybe. And for those of you that are winners, the printed version of it will probably be out midsummer as well. That's kind of a DIY magazine. I got to print it and hole punch it and a bunch of other stuff. So that should be out midsummer or so. And then the PDF is available for everybody to use. And I think Meryl's on the call, right? So Meryl, do you want to talk about how you've used the magazine in your class? This is something that other people have done, and I think it's a free resource to take advantage of.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here. I have to say this Insight magazine is my favorite textbook to use. We use it a few times during the session, and there's no greater inspiration than for the students to see students just like themselves as published authors. I mean, what could be better than that? I know I went to a workshop yesterday, and it was all about writing, but sharing the writing by reading it aloud and the listening part of it.
Right.
I was sitting there agreeing with it, but saying to myself, there is nothing better than getting that piece of paper and seeing it typed, and it becomes, it reaches a level of professionalism that listening is a whole different domain. So we look at first of all, we look at the biographies of the writers. So it's a geography lesson, and how many years they've been here, their professions. So that in itself is just an incredible lesson. Do we live near these people? Do we live far from these people? Have we ever been there? So it becomes a geography lesson. And then I just have a few favorite stories. There were a few times where I divided the class into groups, maybe 3 or 4 people. And then I assigned them stories, and then they came back to the class and told the class about the stories. We took questions about them. And it's just a wonderful resource. And I thank NJALL for giving the students this opportunity. And they're very, very appreciative. You'll see Victoria here as well. Nobody's asked students to write. So to write a story of their own choice, their own selection, and then to work with the teacher, by Zoom and in Google Docs and whatever it is we did, and to keep the student's voice, it's really a priceless gem. So I thank you. And we go back a few years, we don't just use the last one.
Right.
So thank you for this magazine.
Right. Thanks, Meryl. Thanks for participating in it every year. So they are all available on the website. Maybe what we can do in the fall as a kickoff is have a webinar for teachers and tutors to think about how to use it and how to support students writing in that way, just as a way in the fall. So we can do that. So yeah, Christian, you had unmuted. Were you going to say something? No. Okay. All right. So then let's just jump right in. So we've got a few of the winners this year here. So first off, congratulations. Thanks for participating, and congratulations to each one of you for winning. And let's see. I'm going to start speaking of, because it's because Meryl just said, so Victoria, why don't you read your piece? Because
hello, everybody. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to participate in this conference. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. It's my first experience in United States. Thank you. I'm very thankful. NJALL magazine. I'm very thankful. New Jersey literacy. I have a teacher from New Jersey literacy. I'm very thankful. My teacher Mariel. It's so true. Mariel, Mariel did it. Mariel teach me how is make sentences in my brain and how explain my thoughts in English word and how is write sentences. It's true. It's Mariel helped me. It's big help from Mariel. It's really true. I count how many answer I did during Mariel classes. 550 answers I did during classes with Mariel. It was hard, but it's so good job. Now I can speak and my wish improve my English and speak fluently. And honestly, I'm really want to be public speaker and help everyone who come here like me with zero English, with scratch English, and start this life in America from scratch, completely from scratch. And I want to help these people found new way and build new life and improve life and be help for people in America. I'm very thankful America, and I'm so thankful and grateful for America. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So thanks, Victoria. Do you want to read your piece now? I'm going to put it on the screen so other people can follow along.
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay.
Green Book. 1 week ago, I watched the movie Green Book. I was so excited, impressed, and extremely upset at the same time. This movie describes a time when Black people and Italians didn't have equal opportunities as white people. The movie is about the Black musician, Dr. Don Shirley, and his Italian driver, Tony Vallelonga. It is about their struggles, life, and friendship. This movie describes the hard time for Dr. Shirley because of the inequality in society. Dr. Shirley was one of the first famous Black musicians. He started performing on stage when he was only 3 years old. He learned to play piano from his mother. His mother raised him alone. Dr. Shirley grew up as a smart, talented, polite, and educated person. People around the whole world know about him. The famous Russian composer Igor Stravinsky said about him, his virtuosity is worthy of the gods. Don Shirley performed in front of some of the most famous people around the world. However, he couldn't have dinner with these people in the same restaurant because he was Black. He couldn't use the restroom in the theater. He didn't have a dressing room. In the best situation, show organizers offered him a very small supply closet. White people listened at his music, clapped, smiled, shouted, bravo, bravo. But after the concert, Don Shirley turned into a regular Black man without any rights. That part of the movie I couldn't watch without tears. My heart was broken. My soul was torn into pieces. These two men turned all the southern states with concert and help each other due to difficult and extremely dangerous situations. They became best friends and they were friends for the rest of their life. They both died in 2013 within 2 months of each other. Nick Vallelonga made the film Green Book about the real life Tony Lip, Tony Vallelonga, and Don Shirley. The Green Book is a real book with maps of all cities, towns, roads, restaurants, cafes, hotels, stores, gas station, place around the whole United States where black people could stop, drive, eat, take a rest, etc. I was shocked to learn there were places in cities where black people could never go because it was illegal. It wasn't a long time ago. It was 60, 70 years ago. Watching this film, I was transported to America 70 years ago. I understand well how black people felt then. I'm going through a similar path now, experiences discrimination as an immigrant. I understand that America needs the second Martin Luther King to change the world because someone must continue his calling. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Victoria. So Victoria, how did you come to choose the Green Book as your topic?
Because Meryl make offer watch this movie, not only Green Book. I watch a lot of helpful movie to understand culture and history United States. And it's not a long time ago. It's history when my mom live now and my family live here in America and like watch this 70 years ago, 60 years ago. It's very interesting. And I watch all of movie, then recommend Meryl Silver and Green Book. I watch 2 times without stop. And my whole family watch this movie. And it's true, I really was shocked and I cry 2 times. And I really don't understand how it's happening. It was real. It was real. And it's really torn my heart, torn my soul. And I try from after watch Green Book, I try write about this movie. I try write my thoughts, what I think about this. And I understand now we don't have Martin Luther King and Rosa Parker and other leaders who improve rights for people, for black people. And sometimes it's rights like cutting. Sometimes we can, everybody can watch this, how is sometimes is cut rights. And we really need someone who continues this calling.
All right. Victoria, one part that I really liked in your piece was how you talked about how 60 or 70 years ago, it's not that long ago, right? So
Yes.
when you're younger, that seems forever, right? 60 or 70 years ago, right? But somebody told me once to think about events in the past. How many of your lives do you need to have lived, like, to go back? So go from your birth date and then go back how many years you've been alive, right? So from that way, the Civil War, the United States Civil War, is less than 2 me's ago in the past from when I was born, right? Like I can imagine my life. I can imagine 1.5 of my lives, right? And then that's wild. Like, that it was less than 2 me ago. So Meryl, do you want to say anything before we move on? So about using movies or about encouraging this type of writing?
Well, first of all, bravo, Victoria, for reading it out loud. That was beautiful to hear your voice. I just want to say we do spend a lot of time in the winter session on the civil rights movement. And every week we look at one moment in the movement. And then just as an aside, I said, there's a really good movie, The Green Book, if you have time over the weekend. So I just want to tell all the teachers out there, the students are listening to you. I didn't make a big deal over it, but Victoria and some other people also watched the movie, and I want to applaud Victoria because all that research she did, I had no idea. I knew she watched the movie. I knew it affected her, so she did it. However she did it, she found out the backstory of the movie. So it was very interesting, and I learned a lot as well. And the story, it's so professional, but it really is her story. I fixed some spelling. I tried to keep her focused, so not to deal with the discrimination of Italians. And we had talked about the disability rights movement and Judy Heumann. And then she had put that at the end, and I said, well, I don't know if everybody's going to know about Judy Heumann. Just focus on this message of the Green Book and the civil rights movement. So I'm sorry I got rid of Judy Heumann, but really it was Victoria's voice and Victoria's writing, and I just want to thank you for sharing it.
Yeah, thanks for doing. Thanks for.
Great
I think
job.
that's a good point. That like teachers and tutors, it's not completely hands off, right? Like because no writer is completely hands off, right? So like people get feedback, people get advice, right? And so teachers and tutors can do the same for learners in the class, whether it's in spelling or like, yeah, kind of maybe keep the focus here a little bit. So I think that's a good example.
And also one more thing, if you don't mind, I know you have a lot of people to talk to. Just the back and forth shows a lot of perseverance. It's easy to write something and say, oh, you're done, and then, all right, I'll fix this once, but I've had it, I'm sick of it. But we went back and forth, I don't know, 3-4 times, and Victoria was open to all those edits, and she just wanted to make it spot on. So it takes a lot of talent and a lot of qualities that go into a piece of good writing.
Right. I think I mentioned this in one of the sessions yesterday that at my younger son's graduation, there was a painter, and he was stressing to the students in the audience, maybe everybody in the audience, that like you have to want to paint more than you want to be a painter, right? You have to want to write more than you want to be a writer, right? You have to want to do the thing, right? And so that means that you're not just one and done, right? If you want to write, you have this passion to like make it the best that it can be. All right. Thanks, Victoria. Congratulations. And thanks, Meryl. Mariam, would you like to share your piece? Mariam is a returning winner, which is always nice to have a returning winner. And this is also in the nonfiction category. So Mariam, do you want to talk a little bit about your piece and then I'll put it on the screen?
Well, I wasn't prepared to talk about it, but I don't know.
That's okay. You don't have to. So
I'll read it. I'll read it first. Okay.
Okay.
This is called Small Things Make Me Happy. Small things make me happy. A new leaf on a plant that I thought had died. The sun coming out on a day that had been cloudy and dark. Making progress on a piece of music that was very difficult. My husband appreciating a delicious meal. Seeing a swarm of robins eating berries on my holly tree in December and January. Seeing cats roaming in the backyards behind my house. That means no mice in the house. Finding new ways to do something, creating something new every time I cook. Figuring out how to fix something, finding a flower bud on a cactus plant that had never bloomed before. My husband making slow progress in his recovery from a seizure and heart attack. He now remembers our telephone number and other numbers from the past. He said, wow, the other night when I cooked something he liked. These small things make me happy. They lift my spirit, and I'm happy not to be unhappy.
Thanks for sharing that, Mariam.
You're
So,
welcome.
yeah, so you don't have to speak about that piece if you don't want to, but do you want to speak about kind of writing, your writing in general, or what writing means?
Well, I will make a comment about
Okay.
this, which I wrote to you. I said I was glad I had submitted 2 pieces, and I was glad this was chosen because, well, I like the other one too, but because this piece mentioned my husband, and my husband was alive when I wrote this piece. About 5 years ago, I wrote it, and he died 2 years ago. So I was glad that to kind of memorialize him in this piece.
Mhm. I can understand that. So,
Yeah.
so you've been in the contest a couple times and you've won a couple times. Do you want to say anything about sort of writing more generally, or the role of writing in your life?
Yes. Well, I couldn't write like this 10 years ago. I've been a member of 2 memoir groups, one at our library in Plainfield and one at the senior center in Plainfield, for about 10 or 11 years, and maybe 12. And at first I couldn't write. I wanted to. Because I've had a very full life, interesting life, and I wanted to write, but I was blocked. And it took many years to finally get unblocked. And now I'm a prize winner twice, so I'm grateful, very
That's good.
grateful.
All right. Thank you, Mariam. All right. We look forward to seeing your work. And so Meryl just noted, I don't know if you saw Mariam, that she loves your last line. Love the last
Oh,
in that.
yeah,
So
really?
yeah.
I
Any
was
other?
worried about that last line, whether it worked or not. You know,
I like the line about learning, learning how to do things in new ways, right? Because
yes.
there's so many things that we do as routine kind of all the time, and we could be set in our ways, but finding new ways to do them.
Well, you know what I found as I get older, I have to learn new ways. When I wrote the piece, this was not on my mind because I was not feeling my age so much 5 years ago. But now I feel, because I have a lot of physical problems, I have to find new ways to do a lot of things. Yeah.
All right. All right. Thanks, Mariam. Is Natalia here? I don't see Natalia. I don't see you in the list, but maybe you're here under a different name in the participants. Natalia is our winner in the memoir category, but I don't see her name here. All right, so Andrea is also here. She's a winner in the fiction category. So yeah, Andrea, you're here, right?
Good morning.
Yeah,
Hi,
good morning.
everyone. Thank you
All
for
right,
having me.
yeah, let me open up yours. Where is it? So, oh, it's in 2 pieces. So, I don't know, Andrea, Andrea, why don't you read like the first half of it to whet people's appetite? Because it's a little bit longer. And
Okay.
then they can read the whole thing when it comes out this summer. So pick a point where people are going to be like, wait, what? I want to find out
Okay.
what's
Thank
happening.
you for the opportunity, and thank you for. I'm really pleased and I'm really amazed to be here. Give me the opportunity to continue improving my English skill. Thank you, my tutor and the director I program I below, Lucy Volunteer. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and I hope you like my piece of work. The Bogara Kingdom by Andrea Serrano. Balen was a kid like others. Balen was the prince of the Bogara Kingdom. Bogara was a powerful kingdom in Utopia country. Thousands of years ago, the Bogara Kingdom was a thriving kingdom, governed by King Raphael, Balen's father. Balen was raised by luxury, always with the best of the best, but sometimes missed his father's presence. King Raphael kept busy all the time. He must take care of the kingdom, make laws, collect the taxes, take care of the security of the kingdom, and more assignments. Meanwhile, Balen kept the protocol, how to be a prince. Every morning he attended his manner classes, rode horses, played tennis, played piano, flora, and violin. After many years, Balen grew up and became a very good-looking, elegant, health prince who also helped his father with matters of the kingdom, making King Raphael very happy and proud. But suddenly, King Raphael got very sick. King Raphael got worse every day. Queen Topacio and Prince Balen consulted many doctors, but nothing worked. One day, the drums of the kingdom did not play as usual, announcing the arrival of the King Raphael. King Topacio called the kingdom. King Raphael had left toward the sky. The news broke Balen's heart. But now, what will happen when the Bogara kingdom? How will he fill his father's shoes? King Raphael had been an outstanding king, fair, loved by his inhabitants, and always tried to ensure their well-being. Thousands of questions and doubts troubled Balen's mind. Queen Topacio knew that fear was flooding Balen's heart. Balen left the kingdom. His heart was broken and extremely sad. Why is the feeling flooding my heart and my mind? Thought Balen. He was on his way to visit his Uncle Kali. Uncle Kali lived in another kingdom. Balen had ridden for days to visit his Uncle Kali. His skills as a riding horse were amazing. His father, King Raphael, had tried to teach Balen all that he would need to survive a long trip. On his trip, Balen met some travelers who had gotten lost in the hottest desert and immediately sprang into action. Balen knew how to guide them and also find water. Every single ability may remind him of his father. Balen, on his way to visit Uncle Kali, looked at the sky. The sky announced a big storm. Balen remembered how to be a shelter while the storm passed by them. Mr. Eric, you want me to stop here and
No, I think we've got time. I don't want to leave now. I don't want to leave people hanging. So we can finish the story.
okay. The storm passed by then. Balen and his horse Cinnamon were healthy and safe. Finally, Balen arrived at his uncle Kali. Kali was a famous writer, wise, knew about numbers, science, and thought about others, weather, laws, health, language, and many different areas. One day, Balen received news from a messenger. His mother, Queen Topacio, needed his help. The Bogara kingdom was being invaded by plague. Their inhabitants were getting sick. Queen Topacio was worried and needed her son's help and support so that together as a family resolve the situation the kingdom was going through. Balen arrived at the Bogara kingdom and he couldn't believe what he was seeing. What had happened when the Bogara kingdom? The beautiful kingdom was dirty, garbage all over the place, plastic bottles and the Azul River. His clear sky was black and foggy. The flowers in green areas had disappeared. The birds and the squirrel didn't hear. Balen observed the big picture. His father Raphael had dedicated his life to teaching him, training him, because one day he would take the mandate of Bogara kingdom. He understood should help his mother when the mandate of the Bogara kingdom. Immediately, Balen started to cleaning the kingdom, educating the inhabitants about plastic and how to care for the nature mother. Every person helped to clean the kingdom, planting trees, cleaning in front their houses, saving water, caring for the animals, recycling the papers, and other reusable materials. Balen supervised and launched a campaign about the control of gases, improved the garbage collection system, and put garbage cans in every corner of the kingdom. It was prohibited to throw away garbage. The kingdom of God was improving, and Priest Valen was doing an outstanding job. Every day, their citizens felt proud of him. Many moons his mother left to the sky to be with his father, King Raphael. Again, feeling Valen's heart went deep sadness. One day, Valen looked up the sky and saw two stars that were very bright. There were his parents who were watching him from the sky. Valen felt in his heart how proud his parents were for all his work, his bravery, and he thanked life for the wonderful parents he had. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Andrea. So, most people every year, the biggest categories are poetry and memoir, not surprisingly, right? A lot of people write memoir, and fiction is the category that the fewest people submit to. So first off, Andrea, I want to thank you for submitting to that category. I think fiction is difficult, right? And it takes a big risk. It feels like sometimes to put your ideas out there, something that you haven't lived or something that's not true. So, do you want to talk a little bit about writing fiction?
Well, Mr. Eric, I want to tell you about that story. What made me write that story? A couple of years ago, I realized Nature Mother is calling me, and I was really about it. I really concerned about the Nature Mother situation right now and how we handle the plastic and how the oceans is in pain and is ask for help. So just the story I want to transmit people, like it's very important to take care of the nature mother. Recycling, educate people. Cleanliness is very important. I always encourage my kids to avoid and to reduce the plastic bottles and the plastic. When I use aerosol or gases, this kind of stuff. Like that's what I really want to show in my story. And also, Valen was really afraid to make mistakes. He has all the resources, like me. I had the resources before to learn English, but I was really afraid to make mistake or be judged for others. But I say I want to take the risk, and I see the result. Thank you for that. And if we get together, we can create an amazing thing, like how Valens did in the
Right.
story.
Thanks, Andrea. I think you make a good point, right? That like a story that may be fiction doesn't mean that it's not about the real world, right? Or that it doesn't have lessons about the real world, that we can take. So thanks. Also in the fiction category, Katerina is here. Katerina, do you want to come on camera? Let's see where you are.
Hello, I'm
Hi,
here.
how are you? So
Good.
So,
Thank
Katerina, your piece is also a little bit long as a piece of fiction, but I'll put it on screen, and then maybe you can decide when feels good for you to stop. That makes sense?
Okay.
Okay. All right. So let me put your piece on the screen.
So
Okay.
maybe I will explain what happened, and I will begin reading from the middle, so people will have a chance to know how it ends in the end.
Sure, that sounds good.
Okay, so the story begins when the lady gave a gift to her boyfriend, and she gave him a portal to virtual reality so they can spend time together in an imagination world. And later they were connected to artificial life support, so they did not have any needs to come back to real, and they just worked and lived and do everything inside the virtuality. And one day the husband woke up for some reason, and he found that there is no wife bed in the real room, and he came back to virtuality and asked her, where are you? And she said, I'm here. What happened? Don't worry, everything is fine. And he decided to find his real wife body. And he came back to reality, and he did exercises to get ability to move, because he could not move. And finally he found her. And so let me find
Yeah, where should I start?
okay, that's the second page.
Okay.
Where is my wife? He found her, called the doorbell. She opened it herself. In her arms was a baby, and a 5-year-old girl clung to her legs. What are you doing here? And you? I came for you. You are my wife. What do you mean? We divorced 6 years ago. What? Are you out of your mind? We go to bed together every day. What are you talking about? I don't know with whom you go to bed. We divorced, you agreed and signed all the documents. But they sat in the living room and watched their memories one by one on a big screen. I need to tell you something important. I agree. And I need to tell you something important. I'm leaving. From this point on, each had their own memories. Hers, divorce, entry into the real world, new marriage, new birth and birth of children, new life, and his, the continuation of life in the portal, this her. This her, he returned to his digital home. Who are you? I'm your wife. My wife divorced me. Who are you? I'm your wife, darling. Are you not feeling well? I will call the doctor. It started gradually. First, there was Photoshop, then filters appeared, then programs for improving the face and figure, masks, deepfake, allowing you to transform a person standing nearby beyond recognition. But appearance was not enough. In the world, there were 99% divorces. Companies offered a new service, a filter on relationship, a mask on behavioral. People in the portal had the freedom to choose words and actions, but if someone crossed the line, the portal filtered what was happening. It replaced rudeness with kindness. Politeness took the place of rudeness. If physical violence started, spouses were replaced by digital personalities. The divorce rate dropped to 1%. Birth rates also fell. Few were willing to leave the portal and face real life and real people. The relationship smoothing filter was set for them too. As soon as she said the words, I need to tell you something important, the digital copies of each other appeared in their visualization. She divorced his copy peacefully. He remained living this her copy harmoniously. From the stories of future bloggers.
Thank you. So where did this come from? This idea of the portal and people leaving real world and real house spouses and husbands and wives to live in the portal.
Yeah, so 2 years ago, I mean, before I write more nonfiction pieces in my blog. But when the war began, when Russia began the war against the Ukraine, and I saw all the news from both countries, because I'm from Russia and my husband is from Ukraine, and we have relatives in both countries, and we see what's going on. And I just saw how Russian people thinks and what they thinks. And they told that all the news from Ukraine is fakes or deep fakes. And I have never thought about fakes, virtual fakes before, but I decided to learn more how it works. And
Mhm.
I have my friend who understand how digital things work, and he showed me something. And now when I scroll Facebook, my Facebook page, I see a lot of deep fake pictures or deep fake videos, but people in the comments on comments, they make conversation and discussion about all these things like that's real. They don't understand that's a deep fake. They just think that's a real things, and they say how it could happen. I will try. I want to try the same thing, and they don't see the difference between real and fakes. And then I thought that like I have 2 kids, and my first issue was how should I grow my kids and prepare them for the world. In future we will not understand the reality and the fake, and like I have few families who try to limit gadgets like
Mm.
tablets, laptops for kids. But I think we don't have to limit it, but we have to teach kids how to find truth and lies. And so this piece just came to my mind itself because I thought about that a lot.
Yeah, thanks, Ekaterina. I think your piece does a good job of talking about the difference between reality and these deep fakes. But in your story, there's also like the husband prefers the fake, right? So the husband prefers the not real, right? And so I feel like your story was also talking about the danger of that too, that the danger of people choosing the fake thing, even when they know it's fake, that they're choosing the fake thing.
I'm not sure that it's dangerous. I think everybody has to have a choice what they want to. But that's another point. When girl and boy meet each other, they have like they expecting what they expect of their life.
Mhm.
And if we don't touch the virtual reality, but for example, she wants to travel and live in different countries, and he wants to live in his house and make gardening, and they meet each other, and they don't talk to each other about that things. They think he will change for me, or she will change for me, and they are expecting to change each other. But it's better if they just talk and don't bore at each other and give them a chance to make a choice. And the same for virtual reality. If he does not want to go to real, he had to tell her, I will not go.
Mhm.
So better if you find someone else to live.
Mhm. Right. Well, that's why you said in your story the divorce rate falls because people are getting what they want from the virtual reality. So, Katerina, I also want to thank you for submitting to the fiction category, and I encourage all the teachers and all the learners out there to consider writing fiction. Right. I think we had both of these stories took on real world issues, right, through telling a story, a fiction story, right? And that's what humans have been doing forever, right? Is talking about the real world by telling stories, whether they're myths or fables or folk tales, right? So thanks, Ekaterina. We look forward to having the whole piece in the magazine.
Thank you. And thank you for this opportunity.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks for
you.
sharing with us. Joe, I think we had invited Vanessa, but she didn't come. Do you want to?
I'm here.
You here? Oh, I see. Okay, great. Great. I didn't see your name on the screen. So
I'm
we
here.
have, so thanks for Vanessa for joining us. So Vanessa is one of the winners in the poetry category. So I'm going to put your piece up on the screen, Vanessa. And so then you can read the piece for us and drive safely. Or are you parked?
No, yes, I am.
All right. That's good. Otherwise I have to take the award away from you for driving while poetry.
No, I'm.
Okay. All right. So here's your piece, Vanessa. I got it on the screen. Can you read it? Or do you have your
Yeah.
own piece?
Yes, I'm my home.
Okay.
Humming 80. I wonder if you continue to bloom. I buried you delicately beside my front porch, but there was no space for one more flower. However, you had grown so fast that you became the tallest shrub near my driveway. I wonder if you are still blooming every morning. I wonder if you found a new admirer like me. Your magnificent morning blooms are engraved in a corner of my memory where sometimes I still draw a little comfort. I remember your fluffy and soft surface. Your vivid color cried out happiness, joy, and peace. Your 5 petals were so perfect and majestic. I remember how proud you were to spread your petals for a new day. I wonder if you have long branches that tickle the house roof. I wonder if.
Thanks,
I
Vanessa.
can,
Do you want to talk about your piece?
yes, I was so surprised when my teacher sent the congratulation email to me because it was a piece that I take last year, and I felt like a little I express myself with poetry because sometimes I use poetry to self myself, to share my feeling, my thoughts. And then this is a time this is what when I wrote this piece, I feel like a little melancholic, so I wrote this piece.
Mhm.
And I'm very, very happy that you selected like a first winner. And I wanted to thank you for this opportunity you gave us all to express ourselves in a different language. And it's very, very important to us to live in a country when we can use both the two languages, our native language and this language. And I wanted to thank my teacher, Miss Jane. Thank you for all you did for me because she helped me to structure my thought, to put them into words and a paper on a paper. And thank you for Jacques for this opportunity that you gave us. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks. I want to say that there's two parts of your poem really stuck with me. I mean, I thought the whole poem was great, but the line where you say your 5 petals were so perfect and majestic, as a reader of that, somehow the 5 petal, like that level of detail really brought the flower to mind. Like I really like that detail about your 5 petals. But the line I really liked the most was when you wrote, I wonder if you found a new admirer like me.
Yes, it was a flower that I stopped to watch every morning. So it's I don't know why, but it caught my this flower caught my piqued my curiosity, and every time I need some comfort, I go and I went and I just take some time to touch the petals, but I can't do that anymore. That's why
Yeah.
I wrote this piece.
Yeah, I just feel like that line shows how much you care for that flower, that like you don't want it to be alone. Even though you're not there, you don't want it to be alone, right? And that
Yeah,
it's so beautiful, it deserves an admirer. And
yeah,
it deserves an admirer that loves it as much as you do.
sure, of course.
So people often say, find you a man or find you a woman that loves you as much as, so we all need to find people that loves us as much as Vanessa loves that flower, right? That's what
Thank
we need, people in our lives that love us as much as Vanessa loves that flower. So Jane, do you want to say anything about the poem or the poetry writing?
Back in early on in our sessions, I quickly discovered how much Vanessa loves poetry. And so we would practice reading and help me learn a lot about poetry too. And then we started having her write some poetry, and it quickly became evident that she was an excellent writer, and especially with poetry. So there were many ones I could have sent in besides the 3 that I did. So I'm really very happy for her, and she is just a natural at it. So that's great.
Cool. Cool. Anybody else with thoughts about this poem that you want to share, or questions that you have for Vanessa about the poem? Everybody is struck speechless, Vanessa, by the.
I do have a question. Vanessa, my dear, if you were still in, did you write poetry in Haiti? And if was it the sense of melancholy that made you want to express yourself in Haiti, in poetry?
Oh, you're muted. You're muted, Vanessa.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Sometimes I feel melancholy, and it's it's very important to me that I can express myself, and poetry is one of the best way I can do that. And I wrote poetry when I was maybe in elementary school, but I stopped. And then with the lesson that I have with Miss Jen, she gave me this. She gave me this. She called me to get this talent that this talent was I maybe slept, but now I can do that again, and it's wonderful.
It is wonderful. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you.
Meryl, did you? I have this on
Yeah.
the screen. Was there something you wanted?
Yeah, I see it on the screen now. Thank you. My favorite line also was your 5 petals. Like you say, the amount of detail that went to it, those few words just say, they cry out to me. I'm also looking at it and the repetition of I wonder and I wonder and I remember and I remember. It's got this beautiful rhythm to it that I think makes it very poetic. So I applaud that use of repetition. I think that's a great poetic technique that you use.
All right. I agree. All right. Thanks, Vanessa.
you.
Thanks to all the poets. So there was one poet who wanted to be here but could not. So I'm actually going to read her pieces for her. I talked to her about this. All right. This first piece is called Spring Rain. This is by Rihong Chen. She has won this competition multiple times. I feel like I'm going to need to retire her and rename the poetry competition after her, the Rihong Chen NJALL Poetry Contest. But so here's her piece, Spring Rain. Gentle spring rain is like silk, so fine, quietly moistening everything without trace or sign. Birds sing in the 1,000 mountains with beautiful sound. Leaves thriving on 10,000 trees are fresh and fragrant. Smoke mist floats in the air. It's so high. The green river connects to the sky. Listening to the rain by the window, old friends come to my mind. Deep affection and strong bonds are hard to find. That's her piece, Spring Rain. And then she has a second piece that won that's called The Birds Have a Party. Let me share that. Okay. I'll make this a little bit bigger so people can see. Okay. The birds have a party. In the morning at the beginning of spring, I walk in the woods delighted. Fresh air fills my breasts like eating a piece of ice candy. Refreshing, sweet, cool. A blue jay chirps loudly, then a cardinal, a junco, a thrush, a woodpecker, a chickadee, a sparrow. Like many young boys blowing whistles. One after another, they are so lively. They sound the most beautiful music. They sound like the most beautiful music in the world. I really want to dance a waltz in the meadow of the woods. They fly over and over, conveying some message, telling the good news to each other. Do they have a party today? Who will chair the party? I find the answer. It is spring. The spring calls a party of birds to celebrate the spring days ahead. So this, you can tell that Rihong likes writing about nature. And this is, she sent some comments in because she wasn't going to be able to make it. Let me call those up. So she said, hello, everybody. I'm very happy to ask Eric to read my pieces for me. I want to say thank you. My name is Rihong Cheng. I'm an ESL student in writing in English, sponsored by the NJ Literacy Center of Mercer County. My tutor, Nancy, taught me a lot. I love reading and writing poems and sharing thoughts with others. When I write a poem, I will read it in the class. My tutor and my classmates always admire my piece, and my tutor Nancy will correct my piece. That gives me a big confidence for writing. The poem, The Birds Have a Party, describes about the nature of the spring days. I feel very happy when I can hear the birds singing in the woods. On such beautiful days, how can we not sing? How can we not feel happy? I wrote this poem when I got back home. That's how I felt at the time. The poem Early Spring describes the scene of spring in nature. The long winter has passed. We have welcomed the spring. We have felt the spring wind. We have smelled the flowers fragrant. That is my thought when I wrote this poem. I'm very grateful to NJALL for giving me the opportunity to submit my pieces to the Learning Writing Contest. Thank you, everyone. So very nice. So is anybody else here? There was that I wanted to make sure I didn't overlook anybody. All right. There was one more piece, the writer who couldn't be here because it was his job. This was also his memoir. It's called I Met the Police. Let me put this on the screen. He's not talking about the band. Okay. So I Met the Police by John Wei Jerry Zhang. He's from Mercer. One day I was delivering food. When I drove into a route, I realized that I got the wrong route because I saw a sign written weight limit. I knew I had to drive carefully and keep an eye out for police on the road. Unfortunately, I saw a policeman ride a motorcycle on the road. The police noticed me too. Oh my God, I had to think of some appropriate reasons to answer the police's questions before the police made me stop. I needed to tell the police a truthful situation, but I needed to organize an appropriate response so the police understand me. I saw the police walk to the tractor driver's side mirror. The police motioned me to drop down the side window and spoke to me. Your trailer is overweight on the road. The road limit is 4 tons. So you have broken the traffic law. I need your driver's license and the vehicle registration. I found my vehicle registration and my driver's license. When I handed it to him, I knew I needed to give an explanation. I said, I only just drove according to the truck map and the traffic was terrible. I didn't get enough time to consider how to change direction to drive, so I had to drive into the road. I took out my phone. It had a truck map on it. The police saw it. The police said, your truck map is wrong, but you have to get a ticket because you went the wrong way. I nodded and I didn't say anything again. After a while, the police came back. He gave me a ticket. I asked, will I get points? There are no points. You will get a fine. Just a little bit, the police answered with a smile. Seriously, I would rather accept the fine than lose points. Driver's license points are more valuable than money, particularly commercial driver's license. I was very satisfied after the police left. Throughout this event, the wording of my response was important. We are living in the US. Therefore, it is important that people moving to the US learn English as a second language. If people can understand each other, we can avoid unnecessary misunderstandings. It is unnecessary to feel sad or think this is unfair because we will be stronger to defend ourselves if we speak English well. We can also build better friendships and trust with each other. Let's study English harder. So that's Jerry. I want to thank him for giving us permission to read that piece today. I'm not going to speak for everybody, but certainly I agree with him that points are more valuable than fines when it comes to your driver's license and your insurance. I will say from my own experience driving in the Garden State, once I got a letter from the state saying that I had gone through a toll booth too fast with my Easy Pass. And the state sent me a letter saying if I did it again, I would lose the right to use an Easy Pass. And I was like, don't want that to happen. So now whenever I go through the toll booth, I'm like super slow. And like, if the number's wrong, I'm always tell my wife, like, take a picture of the speedometer. Like, I'm not speeding. I want to prove to people that I'm not speeding, even if it says I'm going like 10 miles faster. Like, I'll pay a fine, but don't take away my Easy Pass. Just do not take away my Easy Pass. So I think that's all the learners that were here today, unless somebody came in that I didn't see. I will be sending out a link to the full list of winners early next week with their name, and then the pieces will go out sometime this summer. So any thoughts, any general thoughts from the writers or from the audience about the pieces or about writing in general, and what writing means to them?
I just want to thank you for putting this together. It's great for students to have a place where they can put their work.
Well, that's why we write, right? Most of the time we write because we want an audience, because we want to share something. Sometimes we write because we want to get something out and it's not meant to share, right? Like, so, you know, every year, now I'm thinking about like the photo contest. Like, I don't know how many of you do this, but like some people, like if you've got something to process, if you're feeling melancholic or feeling angry, sometimes people write a letter and then they burn it, right? Like instead of actually giving it to the person, because like you don't really want to express all that to the person, but you want to get it out. So some people will like write a letter and then burn it. Some people write a letter and then crumple it up and throw it out. I've heard of people writing a letter and then burying it. And like that way, like metaphorically, you're burying it. So maybe we can have a special photo contest of like letters not sent and what was done to them, that either buried or burnt or crumpled or made into origami or whatever it might be. So so yeah, so thanks everybody for contributing, for submitting. You know, we call this compositional risk, right? You're putting yourself out there, you're sharing something of yourself, right? And that can make you feel vulnerable and it can make you feel judged and evaluated. So I think it shows a lot of bravery and courage on the part of learners to submit it, particularly in a language they may not either have spoken as their native language, or if they were, you know, native English speakers, but they're working on their literacy skills, right? That's also a compositional risk. Every year, one of the things that I stress is that we don't have different categories for beginning, intermediate, and advanced, right? Because it's not about technique, right? It's about, does it land? Does it resonate? Does it make you feel something as a writer? Now, yes, there is technique like repetition and things like that, but you know, our first pass through is not for syntax and spelling and grammar and things like that, right? As a reviewer, our first pass through is like, do I like this piece? Does this piece speak to me, or does this piece move me? Right? Because at the end of the day, that's what matters.
Mhm.
So yeah, Meryl.
Can I say something? My class submitted 4 stories, 3 memoirs, and Victoria's nonfiction. I don't envy the judges who had to pick the best ones, but I'm wondering if the 3 non-winners, if we would be able to see if they will also get published in Insight.
Yeah, so
they can share their message.
Yeah, so they'll be in there's 2 versions. There's always 2 versions of Insight. The printed one is just for the winners, because of the cost of like printing and photocopying and all that stuff. But anybody that gets honorable mention, anybody that is submitted, that will go in the PDF that's uploaded and shared. So they'll see it there, just not in the printed one.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, any other questions about the contests? Well, thanks for everybody for participating and congratulating. And for those of you that want to stick around, the final session is us doing some writing, if you want to do some writing. So I have some prompts that I'm going to share, and we will take the same compositional risk that our learners take when they submit to the contest by doing some writing.